And long delays are expected for travellers trying to get away for Christmas. The RAC estimates that 13.5 million car journeys will take place over this festive weekend.
Wow, that's pretty much nearly everybody, isn't it? Motorway closures and train cancellations are adding to the congestion.
And there are delays at the port of Dover as well. This after industrial action, with queues over a mile long for drivers trying to cross the border.
Oh, gosh. It's not good, is it? Planes, trains, automobiles. Could always try a reindeer. Works for Santa.
That's very true.
Joining us now is travel editor at The Sun, Lisa Minnow. Lisa, thank you very much for joining us. How's your reindeer? Are you travelling everywhere by reindeer this Christmas?
I'm going to stay very much right here in my own home, not try to travel anywhere.
Is that the advice, perhaps, for everyone? Because it does seem that whichever way you look at it, on the roads, on the rail, even across the Channel, there's just been chaos over the last few days.
Yeah, I mean, again, we had a bit of a perfect storm yesterday, didn't we? We had the storm here, which created chaos with high winds bringing down overhead train lines. And then, of course, you had the strike action, wildcat strike action in France that led to, 30 Eurostar services being cancelled and all of the Eurotunnel services being cancelled. They have put on more trains today. People are going to start to see things get better. But as you say, the Port of Dover also struggling because sheer number of people who would have had to try to find another way to get across the Channel because people still want to go home for Christmas.
And is this chaos expected to last up until, Sunday? I think some of the last trains are going pretty much Sunday lunchtime, aren't they?
That's right, yes. I mean, you've got engineering work starting on the railways on Christmas Eve. That's standard. That always happens at this time of year. It allows the Network Rail time to actually do these major projects that they need to clear the railways for. So the likes of Paddington is going to be completely closed. There's going to be, some really quite big engineering works from King's Cross and from Victoria. So it's always going to be worth checking if you're thinking about travelling on Sunday. But obviously the roads are going to be where we're going to see the biggest sort of crisis, I think, if we're talking about anything. Lots of people travelling. Today is predicted to be the busiest day, and that's because you've got normal commuters, normal truck drivers on the roads. At the same time, you've got all of those people that are starting to head away for Christmas. So today is going to be the big point. They're also talking about a lunch crunch. It's going to be the point where actually lunchtime is going to be the busiest day on all of the next 3 days. So between 12 and 2, that's you really don't want to find yourself on any of the roads in the UK network.
So potentially people thinking of going to see family today, leaving work a little bit early to skip the traffic. Maybe they're better off waiting until a bit later this evening.
That's right. So, the motorway experts are saying, like to the RAC, are saying if you want to travel today, after 6 o'clock is going to be the best time to go. But there are always going to be issues. In London, it's going to be the M25, particularly sort of anti-clockwise going west and clockwise going east. And then you've got the likes of the M1 between Woburn and Daventry, and also the M6. All of those roads are going to be extremely busy today, so it's worth checking before you make a journey, and also making sure that everything in your car is okay. The RSA recommending that people check over their car, make sure they've got everything they need to take a trip in winter. Make sure you've got some extra snacks, you've got a coat, you've got something there to keep you warm should the worst happen. It's about preparing yourself before you're setting off.
And Lisa, can you just confirm that the Eurostar is indeed operating a near-normal service today after the chaos of yesterday?
Yes, they are. They're actually putting on an extra 6 trains just to try to process some of the many people that were caught up in the nightmare yesterday, people sleeping at St Pancras Station. So there's an extra 6 trains today, and hopefully things are actually now moving and back to normal. But there's always going to be a little bit of an issue when you've had such a sort of unprecedented rare event like yesterday when you had that wildcat strike. But at the moment, things are running pretty smoothly. There's a lot of people at St Pancras Station, but things are running pretty smoothly.
And Lisa, I've lost the plot with what's happening with strike dates in this country, let alone the French going on strike. Are there any strike plans over the festive period going into New Year by the railways?
No, there aren't. And that was what was so unusual about yesterday. Unions in the UK and actually in France as well have to give 2 weeks' notice of any kind of strike action. So what we saw yesterday was unprecedented. At the moment, there are no plans for any strikes, but that could change as we go into the new year.
And I suppose for those of us lucky enough to be jetting off to warmer climes over this period, how are the airports looking? Is everything running normally?
I mean, there were obviously quite a lot of delays yesterday because of those really high winds that was impacting flights yesterday. Manchester and Heathrow both saw cancellations. Heathrow this morning, still cancellations, about 20 BA flights were cancelled this morning. A lot of those on those short haul routes where there'll be another flight today that can sort of hopefully mop up those passengers. But Heathrow is expecting its busiest winter day since COVID today. So obviously lots of us wanting to get away. Favourite destinations at the moment seem to be the likes of Dubai and the Canary Islands for people trying to head off for a bit of winter sun, or Geneva for those of us heading to the slopes.
Wow. Or you could just stay here on the settee and watch us on GB News.
Yes.
Lisa Minnow, thank you very much for us, and Merry Christmas to you and all your family. Thank you for joining us.